The legal war for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu don't reach the final bus stop today. Today, Thursday, February 12, 2026, the silence from the federal government is screaming the loudest victory song we've heard in years. The headline you are looking at is not a prediction, it is the binding legal reality. The United Nations 60-day ultimatum for the Nigerian government to release Kanu has officially expired, and because the gates of the Sokoto Correctional Center remain locked, the UN has triggered the non-compliance mechanism. This means, in the eyes of international law, Kanu is no longer a detainee. He is now technically a hostage. If you want to know why Aso Rock is in total panic, stay tuned. The clock has finally stopped ticking. For 60 days, the world watched as the Nigerian government ignored a direct order from the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention. But as of 48 hours ago, that deadline evaporated and the diplomatic consequences are hitting Abuja like a sledgehammer. We are talking about a historic shift that has practically forced the hands of the presidency. While the physical gates in Sokoto might still be shut this morning, the legal cover for keeping them locked has vanished into thin air. Welcome to the final victory briefing. The biggie for the government started when the moment the deadline passed without a compliance note from Nigeria's Attorney General. According to diplomatic sources in Geneva, the UN automatically forwarded a level-red non-compliance report to the UN Security Council and the US State Department. This is not just a letter of complaint, it is a binding legal document that activates specific clauses in international treaties. By failing to release him or provide a valid legal reason for holding him past the deadline, the government has inadvertently handed Nnamdi Kanu his biggest win yet. We are hearing reports from the Ministry of Interior that there is serious confusion and fear regarding the sanctions now on the table. This report is exactly what the Trump administration has been waiting for. With the Nigeria Religious Freedom and Accountability Act already in play, the US can now legally freeze aid, deny visas to Nigerian judges, and block military equipment. The government knows that this expired deadline is no longer just about Kanu. It's about the survival of their international relationships. The expired deadline, the UN's 60-day ultimatum for Kanu's release, expired 48 hours ago, triggering the non-compliance mechanism. The level-red status, a formal report has been sent to the UN Security Council and US State Department, certifying Kanu's detention as illegal. The Trump factor, the US can now activate sanctions against officials involved in Kanu's continued detention under human rights accountability laws. What does it mean for a state to be in non-compliance with the UN? It means Nigeria is now being viewed as a rogue state in this specific case. This opens the door for Kanu's legal team, led by Aloy Jimako, to approach foreign courts to seize Nigerian assets abroad as compensation. We saw this happen in Iran last year, where a UN deadline expiration allowed families to freeze government bank accounts in Europe. This is the nightmare scenario the Central Bank of Nigeria wants to avoid at all costs. In the world of international diplomacy, you don't ignore the UN Working Group and get away with it forever. By ignoring the deadline for 60 days, the government has exhausted its excuses. They can no longer say we are waiting for the local court because the UN has already ruled that the local court process is compromised. This victory shifts the narrative from "is he guilty" to "why is the government disobeying the world?" The rule of law point. Supporters of Kanu argue that the government's refusal to obey the UN makes them no different from the kidnappers they claim to be fighting. International treaties are supreme and Nigeria must respect its signatures. The national security point. The government tried a last-minute stay of execution claiming national security, but the UN rejected it because it came after the 60-day window had closed. The law doesn't wait for latecomers. The ripple effect is economic pressure. Southeast governors are reportedly using this expired deadline to negotiate a soft landing release for Kanu. Their argument is simple: let us release him now before the US sanctions cripple our economy. The expiration of this deadline has removed the president's ability to delay. He either obeys the world or faces isolation. My people, this is the final checkmate. Nnamdi Kanu has won the legal war. Now we just wait for the prison van to open its doors. Do you think the government will release him this week to avoid sanctions, or will they continue to fight the whole world? I want to read your honest opinion in the comment section. Abeg, smash that like button now and subscribe. Hit the bell so you don't miss the exact moment Kanu walks out of Sokoto. Last month, we talked about the UN ultimatum. User at Biafra Freedom said, when the 60 days finish, the real wahala go start. Or more, the 60 days don't finish and the level red wahala has officially landed in Abuja. What is the future forecast? Expect a massive diplomatic crisis in the coming days as the US State Department issues its first set of inquiry letters to the Nigerian Ministry of Justice. We predict a secret deal will be reached to move Kanu from Sokoto to a private residence in Abuja as a halfway point to his final release. The pinpoint recap before we go. Deadline expired. The UN's 60-day window for Kanu's release has officially closed. Non-compliance triggered. A level red report is now with the UN Security Council and the US. Sanctions threat. The US can now legally block aid and freeze assets of Nigerian officials. Assets at risk. Kanu's team can now target Nigerian government bank accounts abroad. Government panic. Emergency legal meetings in Aso Rock show the state is out of options. As we wrap up this historic update, remember say justice delayed is not always justice denied. The board is clear, the move is mandatory. Kanu has won the legal battle of his life. Stay calm, stay vigilant, and let's watch the doors of justice open. I go see you for the next update. One love.